Hello and welcome back to Williamson Motorcycles and the Rides with Matt video series. Regular viewers and subscribers will know that it has been a little while since we've done one of these videos. The reason being we have recently welcomed our second child, so we've been obviously sorting out that, and then the shop's just been really busy, so it has been a couple of months since we've been able to do one of these. So I just thought, right, time to get back on the saddle. If you are a regular viewer, you'll have known in one of our previous episodes we brought you one of the all-new BMW R12S's, and we've now just taken in one of its cousins, so we thought now's a good chance to do a ride on this and let's see how they compare, bring you another example of these wonderful machines. So here it is, welcome back. As I said, it has been a couple of months. We've just welcomed our second baby, and in the time the shop's been really busy, so we've just not been able to find that bit of extra time needed to do one of these. But then once this bike arrived, I thought, well, this is a perfect opportunity to get another video underway. So as we mentioned, regular viewers will remember earlier in the summer I did one of these videos for the all new BMW R12S. And right here is the all-new R12 GS. So obviously based on the same platform, the same engine, but obviously catered for a completely different rider. So it'll be really interesting to run through this, tell you what the differences are, obviously explain this bike to those who are just purely here to see this bike, and then obviously we'll go out on the road and see what I think. And I'll try my best to be unbiased, because obviously anyone who knows me knows that this bike is right up my street, but I always try my best to be unbiased and honest, and really keen to see how it compares to the S, to see if you can notice any familiarities or whether it is just a bike all of its own. I've previously obviously had plenty of the original urban GS's, but this bike only came out in March of this year, so obviously this is the very first one we have had through the doors. So really am excited to get my hands on it and see what it's all about. So let's run through the spec. So obviously it uses the same 1170cc engine with 109 brake horsepower proclaimed and 115 newton meters of torque. It's a one-piece tubular bridge steel frame and chassis. Obviously the front suspension, much taller travel on this bike, fully adjustable upside down telescopic forks, and we do get a proclaimed 210 millimeters of travel. The rear suspension is a fully adjustable Marzocchi unit. So obviously on this, with it being the Enduro design bike, we've got 21-inch spoked wheel on the front with a 17-inch there on the rear. Obviously we've got twin discs on the front powered by Brembos, and then the rear disc uses BMW's own caliper, but it is based on the Brembo, and you can actually see the actual caliper carrier is a Brembo one. Obviously we get switchable ABS. Obviously you've got ABS Pro on here, and then you've got BMW's dynamic traction control, and that can be switched off when we do go into the off-road mode. And we've got the motor slip regulator, which is obviously BMW's torque control, that's their setting for that. And obviously on the S we had the twin real retro exhaust, but on here we've got the higher slung side exhaust, just again to give it that more scrambler style and obviously keep it up out of water. We get the nice classic looking LED round headlight. It is the adaptive on there, and obviously the later generation LED indicators. We get the nice classic round instrument panel. Again, nice features on this, keeping it in keeping it in spec with what it should be. Obviously it's keyless ride, we do have the intelligent SOS, we've got multiple rider modes. Obviously, like with all BMWs, you've got such an array of different tick boxes. I can only go off what this particular one is right here. This bike right here has had the quick shifter or the shift assist added as well, so that really is a nice feature to have on these bikes. And obviously you can see the much wider handlebar setup on this particular bike, and this one also comes with the engine bars. So that's pretty much all of the features and specs there ran through. So seat height, it's a proclaimed 860mm seat height. Previous viewers will know this, I'm around 5'10". Let's see how it feels. You can see I am pretty much on the balls of my feet with both feet, so it is really accessible for more of an enduro off-road style bike. Doesn't feel too big and heavy, not too tall. I am comfortable with both my feet down, and that is on this uneven gravel surface as well. If I put just my left foot down, my right foot up, covering the rear brake as we're supposed to do when we're stationary, I am completely flat-footed with my left foot, so nice and comfortable. It doesn't feel heavy either, and with it having these more off-road orientated handlebars, really does feel a nice rider position. We'll see how that translates out onto the road. So, time for a quick sound check. So obviously it's keyless, so we just turn the bike on, and as we said, you get the nice retro single display. So it does have just the undeniable sound of the BMW Boxer. Really never has changed that note right from the inception of these bikes. Whenever you start one of these or you hear one of these coming down the road, you know exactly what it is. So that characteristic has still remained, which is nice to see.
Okay, so we are finally back out on the road for rides with Matt. So quick disclaimer, this is actually the morning after I did that intro. The shop got really busy, so I weren't able to get straight out. Such is life, that's just the way it's been recently. But it's a Saturday morning, so I thought I'd quickly get out on the road before the shop actually opens. Hopefully as well, it should be a little bit quieter out on the roads for me this morning to see what I think of this new machine. So obviously, as we alluded to in the intro, I have already done a Rides with Matt video for the all new R12S. Obviously the lovely retro classic version. I found it a nice smooth ride, and this is obviously its sibling, a much more rugged enduro style bike. So obviously the first thing that you notice is just, of course, the riding position. Really is comfortable, very roomy. Obviously it's all personal. I personally do like this style of bike. So yes, the initial impressions is it is very comfortable. So really the ergonomics are really nice. Engine wise, it is obviously just unmistakably a BMW Boxer. It doesn't matter which model you ride, you instantly know that you're on a Boxer, and that is exactly the same here. Although these newer generations are a lot quieter and a lot smoother than early models. The big clunks seem to have been removed from these later variants. For some people those clunks and rattles were a character, but for a lot of people they were quite unnerving, and they have now been removed. Really is very, very smooth, I must admit. The engine is superb. It's so quiet, so smooth, plenty of torque down low. Of course, it's all very minimalist up in the cockpit, and obviously nowadays we ride so many bikes with obviously the TFT display, so it looks like you're staring at an iPad. So it's actually quite a refreshing change to just have just your clocks there. It is nice. For me, it really takes me back to my motocross roots. It really does just feel like a motocross bike on the road. So for me, it's all very familiar. Yeah, the shift assist does work just the same as it works on the other boxers, so that's a nice feature to have. You do get a generic onboard computer here, nothing too fancy. And of course we have multiple rider modes, so we've got road, enduro and rain. So I think for the most part you're going to just find yourself in the road mode. So one thing I have noticed is obviously we have the button here for the heated grips, but they're obviously not actually switched on this bike because you press the button and they don't actually do anything. So in typical BMW fashion, that must have obviously just been a tick box. So they give you the button but not actually the heated grips. One thing I do notice, obviously the original bike that this is obviously come from was the R90 Urban GS. Now that bike was essentially just an R90 with a front mudguard on it and a different headlight surround and some knobbly tyres, really, in essence. So yes, it had the looks of an enduro bike, but didn't really ride like one, didn't really feel like one, didn't really serve the purpose that it was marketed for. Whereas this really is a completely different bike. So completely different suspension and everything compared to the new R12 90s and the R12 S's. So it really does have its own character, its own personality, and it really does feel like these more adventure styled, scrambler styled bikes. So I think this new model has much more of a place than its predecessor, which was the Urban GS. I think this really does fit what it's actually marketed for a lot better. And the suspension really is superb. I found on the R12S the suspension was very harsh. I did actually comment on that in the video, that the suspension was really harsh and you felt every single pimple on the road. But this is so smooth, you barely feel anything on the road. It really is such a plush ride, and the seat is absolutely superb as well. I must say, ergonomically wise, this is one of the comfier bikes I've ridden in the recent times. But I must be honest, it just feels nice just to be back out on the road. It's been a few months. Looking after a newborn and a 4-year-old and running the business really has taken up a lot of time. But it has been nice to finally get the helmet back on and get back out. And the engine has a nice pull from the bottom there. It's definitely not lacking power. And believe it or not, this actual little screen does have more wind deflection than you think. I don't actually have my visor down at the moment, so we are getting some decent wind protection for such an exposed bike. makes a refreshing change for the roads to be so quiet. Obviously my earlier videos, we was right in summer and I was just getting out as and when I can, and on a few of my previous test videos it was really busy, but as you can see there's not been much traffic on the road today, so it's been really nice. One thing I'll just have to reiterate again is just how quiet this new engine is. Obviously I know you don't get to pick up the true extent of it via the camera, but it really is so quiet compared to previous boxers. One thing I noticed, and I did find that with the R12S as well, is very low geared, so when you're in like first or second it really is sharp and notchy and a bit glitchy. So I think when riding these, pull the higher gears. They've got that much torque that you can pull those higher gears and you do get a much nicer ride from that. Now if any of you watching this are regular viewers, you will probably recognize this road here where I'm about to go. So obviously this bike is hailed to be enduro, so let's see how it fares up on this little green lane that I've got down here. I'm pretty sure of the answer. I know it's going to handle it perfectly well, but wouldn't be a proper video if I didn't actually try it and see what it's like. I'll just take my time. With it being early in the morning, there could be some dog walkers, so let's just go slowly until I've made sure the coast is clear. Alright, so here we are. Let's put it into the enduro mode. Okay, obviously we get the exclamation mark because obviously lets you know the traction control and everything's been altered, but we're aware of that. I'm going to put it up into third gear so it's a little bit smoother. Up on the pegs, plenty of room. Suspension just soaks that all up lovely. I can see ahead the coast is clear. Right, so just quick stop now after we've just done that bit of green lane down there. Obviously I'm about half an hour, 45 minutes into the ride, done a nice bit of town riding, a little bit of traffic, not too much because it is a nice quiet Saturday morning. Couple of little twisty roads, and then now down this gravel road. So initial impressions are I am impressed. Obviously, as I mentioned in the intro, I try my best not to be biased, but this bike right here really is well and truly up my street. So for me, I am really enjoying myself. It's nice and comfortable. In fact, it's really comfortable, to be honest. The ergonomics fit me really well, fit my frame really well. So I do find it really, really comfortable. The engine is so smooth and so quiet. All those vibrations and clunks and bangs and noises and rattles that you used to get in the earlier models of these, they're all gone. Gearbox is lovely. The shift assist really does work well. So riding wise, really is a nice, comfortable, pleasant ride. I do think you could be out on this bike all day, no problem at all. It really, really is enjoyable. Obviously we've just done this little green lane. Obviously it's nothing major, but it's the best that I've got near me, and I'm continuing to use it because now obviously as I do these videos and I'm riding more bikes, it's a good comparison. So obviously I've been down here on a few different things now, and I have to say this has just handled it the best. It really, really was superb down there. I was having a lot of fun. I've got to just keep telling myself, rein it in, don't get carried away. But yeah, really good fun. So yeah, that was all superb. So what we'll do now is we've got a good few miles of nice twisty roads that lead us back to the shop. So we'll get it back out of enduro mode and we'll go and enjoy these nice twisty lanes and head back towards the shop for what should be another busy Saturday. Okay, so we are back in the road mode and we'll now head back out to that main road, and we do have a nice good few miles of really nice twisty country road, so that'll be a good way to bring this ride to a finish. Okay, so we're back here now at the main road. Just got to take my time at first as I'm going to have a bit of dirt on my wheels from there, but time for visor down and let's enjoy this bit of a country run back to the shop. Okay, so we're back in the village now, nearly back at the shop. It's not quite been as long as a ride as some of my previous videos, but just a little conscious it's a Saturday morning and I'm anticipating it being busy, so I wanted to get back to the shop and be sorted and ready before the mad rush. But it has been very enjoyable. Really, really brilliant bike, this one.
So that's it, we're back from the ride out. Firstly, it's just been nice to get back out on the bike. It's been a few months since I've last done one of these, so it is always nice just to get the helmet back on and get back out on the road. Obviously, as I alluded to in the video, first impressions, what a great bike this is. Again, I know it's hard because I try not to be biased, but this sort of bike really does suit me down to the ground. And yeah, really did enjoy it. It's nice and comfortable, plenty of room, the seat's superb. It really is a nice riding position. It's not aggressive on the back, on the knees, on the arms, so really is comfortable. And as I said in the video, really is one of them bikes that I think you could go out and ride all day and not feel battered when you get off it. Although the screen looks really small, it did a good job. As I was saying, I didn't really need the visor down, so the wind protection for such an exposed bike is good on there. So again, in the summer months when it's nice, it is really nice to be able to ride with your visor up and feel the air in your face, so you can do that. Really comfortable. This new engine is superb, so much more refined than the previous generations. Obviously I've sort of tried my best to compare it to the new R12S. You can feel the characteristics of the engine so similar, but for me, so much more comfortable. Suspension's a lot nicer, nowhere near as harsh. Obviously, it is personal preference. The R12S is an absolutely gorgeous bike. It looks superb, but for actual riding wise, I think this is a lot more practical. It's a lot more comfortable, but they're both good in their own rights, and that is the beauty why they do these different variations. Yeah, massive flock of geese just coming over us. Yeah. The beauty of being in the countryside, we've got a big geese all above us now. Oh, a couple of stragglers. Quick pause there while all those geese flew over us. I'll try and find my flow again. But yeah, it went on the green lane and handled that superbly. Obviously I've been doing that on a few different bikes. I took the big Ducati Desert X on there, which really is meant to be hailed as a proper enduro going machine. This was a lot better than that. On that road, obviously I know there's loads of different environments, so I can only go off what I've tested and what I've ridden. But yeah, that really did knock it out of the park. Engine's lovely, gearbox is superb. So yeah, all in all, I think this is a brilliant bike. I've really enjoyed myself. I think it is a tough call if you're trying to compare it between the two, between the S and the GS. I think if you've come from a previous urban GS and you're thinking about getting one of these, it's a no-brainer. This absolutely knocks that original urban GS out of the park. So it really would be a fantastic upgrade should you want to be going from the early one to this. You definitely wouldn't be disappointed. So all in all, one of the best bikes I've ridden for quite a while, I must admit. So really has put a smile on my face for this Saturday morning. So thank you very much for tuning back in. Hopefully I won't have as much of a gap in between my next video. As always, if you're new to the channel, please do like and subscribe. It really does help the algorithm and helps us a smaller family business. And we will see you on the next Rides with Matt episode.